Welcome back. We continue our discussion with Austin Black, Realtor, and Renette Jackson, attorney and former, of course, Detroit City Council candidate. The question is, when you look at the current political climate here, is there anyone who speaks to the voice for young people?
Right now, no. Not in the political scene.
Currently, no. Running, possibly. I believe Reverend Spivey.
Andre Spivey?
Yes, Andre Spivey. I do believe that he will be a voice for progressive change. And one reason is because even as a reverend, we witnessed him just going outside the four walls of his church and going into the communities and doing development and, really stepping outside just his typical call of duty as a reverend. And now he's going into the public forum where he's going to serve, where I believe he'll serve in that capacity to be a voice, or at least to be open to hear our voices and our ideas. So,
and he had a global exposure too, because he lived in South Africa. I was listening, he said that.
Yeah, and he lived outside of Detroit, which helps as well. So, it's good to have all of that experience. Is it a plus or a minus? I think that's a plus when you get other experience and exposure to other cities, how they worked, how they thrived, and you come back and you use all of that to really help our city move forward. So that's one, I believe.
Go ahead.
One of the things, myself and several people that I'm around, a lot of us either grew up here, went away, and came back, right, or people that are not from here. And that's allowed us to look at the city with a fresh perspective, a fresh set of eyes, and a different standpoint that we can move forward in the city of Detroit.
And in a more objective way.
Exactly.
Right. Let's create a scenario here. If you were sitting with the mayor, Dave Bing, today, and you're supposed to be, let's say, the Council of Young Advisors, whatever, you're advising him as far as the future for young people is concerned in this city, what would the two of you advise the mayor to do?
I would say the first thing, the cuts that are being made, they're necessary. But at the same time, you need to create a vision for the city. Where would you want to see the city 10, 15, 30 years from now? Because if you don't create that vision, the city will never thrive. And I think in getting together with young people that have invested in the city or people that have lived in the city for a long time, figure out how can we create a new Detroit. And that's very important, especially now. Although the budget cuts are a priority, the vision needs to has the same priority.
So a vision has to be established.
Absolutely.
Definitely have to communicate a vision. And I really tell them we have to stop pinning the sectors, the public sector against the private sector, the unions against the small business organizations. And I would definitely encourage the mayor to create a vision of a public-private partnership moving our city forward. We can't just count out labor and unions. We understand that labor started here. We have that. It's
a labor town.
Right. But at the same time, we have to, like you said, open the door to the business community, to the small business community, the innovative technology communities, and find out how we can work together, create partnerships and relationships, and move this city forward. That has to be a part of the vision. It cannot just be labor, cannot just be private.
Do you think that City Hall is always pitting private sector against the public sector?
Yes. And especially during this council race, I believe that it's primarily so a lot of the candidates can keep their support base. I mean, we know that the unions vote in large numbers, so they're going to pretty much sway their platform according to the agenda of the unions, when that may not be the most progressive way to see the city forward. And I really believe that it's politically motivated, especially at this time.
What do you all make of the current makeup of the 18 candidates who are running for city council and this city charter commission? What's your general impression?
I like the fact that there's a lot of fresh faces, a lot of young faces, a lot of older faces. People that are not entrenched in the political scene are coming to the forefront. And hopefully we'll see a majority of them reach the level of winning both the council candidacy and the charter commission candidacy. Because I think by entering this new era of Detroiters that come from many different backgrounds, we will be able to work together better to create a better city.
What impact would, let's say, this whole political transformation that we're talking about, what's the ramification or what impact does it have in terms of your individual visions for the city on what you're doing?
I think it's huge.
If it goes either positive or negative.
In a positive direction, I think the impact can be huge. We have an image real or perceived of Detroit. And this will be one major step in moving that image forward, saying Detroiters came together and we want to see change. I think we've seen that on several levels already in the primary election, but the general election that changed, it would change the perception in the region and the country.
I agree. We definitely have to start with our image, and I'm hoping after November 4th we will that will show the world, first our city and then the world, that we were ready for change and we actually did something to make that change. And that's by seeing some new, fresh, viable faces in our city council and for the Charter Commission. So, of course, a positive change would have a positive impact. I don't really think after November 4th there can be too much negative change, because we will at least see 4 new faces, and it's really up to us, again, the younger generation, to stay active no matter what.
Final question on the question of staying active. Most people say, your critics would say, well, young people don't come out and vote anyway. So how do you effect change if the voting population within demographic that we're talking about is very low?
I think we have to educate the people, particularly the younger voters, that it is important to vote. You do make a difference. I mean, we look at the council by district. We were able to get those signatures and put it on the ballot. But also, I think there's a level of frustration amongst all people that if the political climate begins to change, I believe we'll see an increase in voter turnout over the next coming years.
That would be my hopes. Even if we do go and vote, I would definitely want to educate and encourage our generation to stay active even after November 4th. Petition the city government, make your voices heard, take your plans and your ideas, and just be active and let your voice and your ideas be heard. We can't just stop with the vote.
All right, and we will continue on Center Stage every week to make sure that your voices get the platform that it deserves. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Austin Black, realtor here in the city of Detroit, and Renee Jackson, attorney and former Detroit City Council member. We were discussing, of course, whether Detroit is the place for business, innovation, and activism. We'll be back next week. You're watching WDL TV 38, Detroit's urban TV station. Don't forget to read my articles in the Michigan Chronicle newspaper every week.